Good evening and welcome to the Sound Off Show. My name is Linda Kirker. I host the program and thank you so much for joining us tonight. I really appreciate it when you tune in, and as the show progresses, we will have the phone number up there in case you have an interest in making a comment or posing a question. There it is, ask and you shall find, seek and you shall find. There we go. I knew I'd get it sooner or later. I'm Linda Kirker. I host the program, and I'm going to read now a piece that was made available to me. I'm going to read this, and maybe you can read along with me. I think it's pretty profound message from Abraham Lincoln, I think he was our 14th president. You cannot bring about prosperity by discouraging thrift. You cannot strengthen the weak by weakening the strong. You cannot help the wage earner by pulling down the wage payer. You cannot further the brotherhood of man by encouraging class hatred. And we have a lot of that going on. You cannot help the poor by destroying the rich. You cannot keep out of trouble by spending more than you earn. You cannot build character and courage by taking away man's initiative and independence. You cannot help men permanently by doing for them what they could do and should do for themselves. So I hope you'll take that to heart. I think it's rather interesting and profound and worth thinking about. And before I introduce my guest, I have one more quick little quote from Clint Eastwood. There's so much distraction and discussion and energy around guns today. And so I would like to share this from Clint Eastwood. Quote, "It's not about guns. It's about hearts without God, homes without discipline, schools without prayer, and courtrooms without justice." I hope you'll think about that. I think that's pretty meaty information. So now I would like to introduce my guest, Don Tessier. Welcome back, Don.
Well, thank you. Hallelujah. That was a very good intro.
Well, thank you.
I mean, you should be down. Where are they having this debate tonight? What city?
Oh, dear, I don't even know.
You should go down there and read this to those people running for president, what Abraham Lincoln said, and he built a good country.
Yes.
They're down there to download us and get rid of us by becoming socialist.
Well, it was Abraham Lincoln and the Republicans who freed the slaves.
That's correct.
The Democrats didn't want to do that. And that's fact. That's the facts and figures. I have the numbers of the votes somewhere, but that's a fact. Well, thank you. I appreciate that, Don. I tried to come up with interesting and meaningful quotes for people to ponder. And I know you're going to have some very interesting things to bring forward tonight, too. So why don't you share the biggest thing on your mind? What is it?
Well, all these candidates on the Democratic side are socialists, they say. And they want to do that. So if they think if you out there and you're a Democrat, you think it's so good, why don't you go to Hong Kong, Venezuela, and Russia if you think communism is such a good deal? But that's not what they're doing right now. They're just talking about what Abraham Lincoln, being our 14th president, how smart he was back there, saying what these people today are trying to do is take money and distribute it to other people who haven't earned. If they took that, what Lincoln said, as their campaign, that they'd be elected hands down, no problem, because most people believe in what he said back over, 200 years ago?
Yes, well, one of the most important things that I think we can do for the future of this country, Don, is to instill upon our youth work ethic, personal responsibility, accountability for the things that you do, and a sense of accomplishment that will come from having a strong work ethic, and helping those young people to think about, yes, we live in the moment, but at the same time, we have a future. And we need to help these young people realize the value of learning and standing up for the right things and being a decent human being and working hard to get ahead in life and to be an independent person. You can't be an independent person if you haven't worked hard to earn that place in life.
That's correct.
And we need our young people to be taught that and to understand that.
But I just can't understand the Democrats right now. They want to have free education, okay, free medical, and here they won't pass a bill to give more money to the armed services who lose their lives. There's a lot of Army, Navy, and service people who need help. These children who think they should get free college and free medical, I'm not for that, but the people saving our lives but keeping communists away from us, we're shortchanging those people there. Now, if you want to give a free college education to a military's children, because they don't get a lot of money, as you well know, I'm in favor of that. But for somebody who's walking the street, driving cars, saying that they need free education, I can't buy that. Go ahead, take that phone call.
Okay, here we go.
I bet I know who it is.
Good evening. Welcome to the Sound Off Show.
You Republicans are getting me all cranked up.
Oh, we're getting you cranked up. That's good.
Well, I figured when I saw you two Republicans, that's why I call it a Republican. So I figured, you were going to crap on the Democrats anyway, so.
No, it's just speaking the facts, Dave.
I know that. I just call up just, I missed last week because Mr. Durfee was on there. I'd like to have called in, but I think I was working, so, I shouldn't call in, so.
Well, I'm glad that you do call in, and I hope some other folks will too. These topics are not just fluff. They're really important to the future of our young people, and the better prepared our young people are and the more independent they are, the stronger our country will be going forward. Would you?
Yeah, well, I haven't sold my house yet, so I might be around for a little while longer.
Well, I hope so, and you're a good man, and you've always worked hard, and I would hate to see you go. I'd actually hate to see a lot of people that I know leave the state, but there are a lot of them talking about it, and they're people who work hard and contribute, and it won't be good for our state for many of these people to leave. We've already lost a lot of people.
That's right. Population is going down.
4,000 people a year.
How many?
1,000 a year.
Really?
Well, I know we've lost, 10,000 already?
Yeah.
That $10,000 deal is not working, bringing people in, I don't think. No, I think, the state of Vermont, including Democrats and Republicans, have got to start being more conservative and try to make sure that the people that are here are going to stay here and retire here and enjoy life here and not, tax us out of the state.
I agree.
Amen.
And, we We don't want to be, at least I don't want for the state to be a magnet for people who just want to come here to be taken care of. We need, I mean, we all know that there are certain people who need our support, and there's no question about that. But to enable people who are capable and allow them not to, you know, make their lives the best they can, that's not right either.
Yeah. Well, I got to go. My wife's waiting at the door, but I had to call into this Republican show. I'll let you know.
Well, we appreciate you, Dave. Thank you so much. You take care.
Drive
Keep up
safe.
the good work, Linda. And, Don, tell Don he needs to bring in a toupee. He looks like he's losing more hair.
Well, it's not what's on your head, it's what's in your head that matters.
That's right.
I agree with you. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Have a good one. No, I mean, in addition to the military, what about law enforcement? All right?
Yes.
We've had a lot of law enforcement people shot, killed. Their families should be taken care of.
Well, you see, what's happening is that there is this movement, shall I say, against law enforcement, military, what else? Our founding principles, our traditional holidays.
Yeah, well, right now they want to get rid of Columbus because they feel that he might have done something wrong back in 14, whatever year he came in here. All right, there used to be a song, I can't remember what it was, and something.
1492?
1492, there you go. Thank you, Linda. So, I mean, I just can't understand why they want to do it. So they want to take Christmas, okay, same thing. They want to take Jesus out of Christmas, and pledge allegiance to the flags. What, I just can't figure out what's wrong with these people. Why are they thinking this way?
Well,
If they think it's so good, why don't they go to these countries? Let them go to China and see how it's like. The people in Hong Kong want to get rid of China now. I can get that feeling because when England turned them over to Hong Kong over to China, they were supposed to be, free and all that, and they're taking away a lot of their rights.
they had a contract.
Right.
Yeah.
They're taking away all their rights. And the same thing in Venezuela, all right? So if everybody doesn't like it here, we shouldn't be changing. They should go to where they feel comfortable.
I agree.
And I'll stay right here because I am comfortable here.
Yes. Well, look, I'm repeating myself, Don. I've said this on the show many, many times. But folks, our silence is consent for what is being done to our country. And we can no longer afford to be silent. That is just so clear to me. We have a job to do as citizens. The founders of this country knew that our republic, which is what we have, a constitutional republic, that is the supreme law of our country. And if we, the people, don't stand up to protect it, to protect our rights and the foundation of our nation for our children and grandchildren to come, then they will not have the same privileges and opportunities that we through the years have had.
Right.
And we're seeing a big effort for those rights and opportunities to evaporate, to be taken away from us. And I, for one, am going to fight as long as I can, and I'm urging others to stand up and take a stand and say, we're not going to accept this. This is not right. And there was something else that just came into my mind and left.
It's on a fast train. You need to get involved. You got an email from me this past week from Pat Leahy, because I called him about this deal going down in Washington. Peter Walsh, I said, this impeachment, either fish or cut bait and stop this stuff. And said what he sent back, and I put a little thing on the top and put Don. So you need to get involved and get a hold of these elected people and tell them how you feel, because they're running down there. All right? He's not going to be impeached because a lot of that stuff is going on is man-made. And if it gets impeached, if you have a 401k plan and you have something like that, it's going to take a big dump. All right? If he did something wrong, I said throw him in jail, but I don't think he's done anything wrong. The Democrats themselves are more corrupt. What they tried to do to him with this Russian deal when he got first elected. Some of those people, the FBI should go to jail. So, I mean, yeah, there's certain things he's done that I don't agree with, but overall, you have to give him a chance. And if you don't like him in 2020, don't vote for him and find somebody else who's new. But the people on TV tonight in this debate aren't the ones that are going to take this country the way where it should be. For example, they kept talking about this trade with China, about what he was going to do, and there was a little bump in the road, and everybody went crazy, and all of a sudden, the bump in the road smoothed over, stock market went up, and guess what? He got what he wanted. He's a tough guy to deal with, but overall, the United States of America made out on that new China deal.
Yes,
Yeah.
and there's a long list of accomplishments that this president has done, and we need to read those one of these weeks so
Yeah.
that people have an understanding.
Well, he went to Minnesota. When Obama went there, they charged him, I forget how much, for police protection, and they wanted like $50,000-$60,000 because of Trump. And the place was packed. People were waiting outside for hours to go in.
As usual.
So he is, if you don't like him, vote him out. But give him a chance to see what happens.
Right.
I mean, there's a lot of hatred in the country. You can see it even when you're driving in the car today. You drive down, if you do something wrong, people go crazy on there and try to bump you off the road. There's a lot of road rage. Look what's going on.
The drugs.
Yeah. And my gosh, I mean, let's love one another until we can, right? Let's agree to disagree on certain things. I do have some Democratic friends that we talk to. We don't go out and get guns and shoot each other. We just debate each other on what is
respect.
Good. That's common sense. This is how this country was founded down in Virginia, all right? You had one side, the other side. They fought like cats and dogs in the daytime, would go have a drink in the afternoon. They didn't shoot each other. They didn't do anything. And they put together the best we've ever had, the United States of America.
It's clear, Don.
I know.
It's clear that a lot of this is being manufactured intentionally by the likes of George Soros and others. And it is clear that there is a faction in this world, and perhaps partly in this country, that people want this country to fall. We are an inspiration for people around the world who want to come here, hopefully for the right reasons, because they want freedom and opportunity.
I wish I'm going to do some research and find out Ellis Island, how many people crossed Ellis Island back in the 20s and the 30s and the 40s. All right, how many people came, and they actually helped continue to make this country a great country, and they brought stuff from their country to our country, and we used some of them. Look, if it wasn't for certain people during World War II, we would have lost the war. Mm-hmm. We had some people help us defeat the Germans and the Japanese.
Have you been to Ellis Island?
No, but I've seen it from a ferry, but I've never been there.
I had the opportunity to go a few years ago with some friends, and it blew me away. It was so fascinating, and quite an education. I think our young people ought to, if they're going to leave the classroom and go somewhere, instead of standing out and holding a sign, go there. Because I'd be in favor of a trip to Ellis Island where they could learn about what the rules were when people came here, like my grandparents.
Right.
And how how grateful they were to have the opportunity to come here. Many of them just got down on their hands and knees and kissed the ground that they were in this country, and they had sponsors and they lived with the sponsors. They weren't a stressor on.
Those sponsors were members of their family who were over here first.
Yes.
And they bring them over again.
And they took care of them, and they helped them to find employment and learn our language. And by the way, you come to this country, we have one language. And it's time for our government to realize that. The people who are like, it was President Clinton who said that we had to have all these languages in our country. You know, it's fine if you're from a Spanish-speaking family and you want to speak Spanish at home, God bless you. But if you want employment in this country, then speak English. If you want to have a driver's license, take the test.
In English.
In English.
Because all the road signs are going to be in English.
It's costing us a lot of money. I have some notes that I made. The billions of dollars that it's costing the taxpayers in this country. I'll have to find it. It's here somewhere.
Yeah.
But
well, I had a friend when I grew up in Virginia, before I came here in 1959, and I was my stepfather was in the Navy, and a friend of mine was from the Philippines. His mother and father, they spoke their language, but they learned English.
Yeah.
He was in the Navy, all right. And my friend, he spoke English, but when he would talk with his mother and father, they would break over into what they
Sure.
right? Not a problem.
No.
But you speak English. He went to school. It was English. He got his driver's license. It was English.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So you come into the country and you take. It's like when you go to Paris. You do as the Paris people do. You go over there. Not going to change because Americans go over there. Most countries don't do what we do. You either learn French or you find somebody who can be an interpreter for you.
we're too busy giving up who we are.
Right.
And it's time that people realize that the official language of this country needs to be officially English. 32 states have made English the official language of their states, including New Hampshire.
Really?
Not Vermont. And I think we need to push for that. We, the citizens, need to get on the case of our legislators of all stripes and say, we want English to be the official language of this state. And then, as you said earlier, call up our 2 senators and our congressmen in Washington and tell them the same thing.
Right.
So here are the costs. Let's see here. Okay. Combined federal, state, and local services for illegals in this country cost the taxpayers $113 billion a year. Education costs alone for children of illegal aliens is over $52 billion a year. Households headed by illegal aliens receive an estimated $2.5 billion in Medicaid benefits each year, plus $1.9 billion in programs like food stamps and free school lunches. The cost of health care for uninsured illegal aliens is $4.3 billion a year, increasing insurance rates and health care rates for all American citizens.
Wow. So you know what you're saying is that you and I and the people listening to the show are paying for this because they're taking it out in taxes. All right.
Yeah.
So we should. I want to help the poor. That I'll tell you how to work. I'll help you until I get you on your feet. Then it's like flying a kite. I give you the string and you go from there.
I want to help those who are willing to help themselves.
That's right.
work hard, and make progress and stand on your own 2 feet and be a contributor to this country, a positive force in this country. And we, again, need to, the border.
Yeah.
Why isn't Congress, the House of Representatives that deals with the money part of our government, needs to stand up and say the border needs to be secured. We need that fence.
It's because Donald Trump wants it. That's the reason why it's not happening.
They wanted it when Obama was
around.
president.
Yes.
But now that we have a new president who's not a Democrat, then they don't want it.
Yeah.
But what about the people of this country?
Right.
They're not protecting us.
I know it, and they're trying to put him down, and it's affecting you, me, and the 90,000 people that we have in the state of Vermont because of higher taxes. And we do have some criminals that are coming up here from down country who are here illegally. And they had a shooting down, Burlington a few weeks ago, all right? And when they catch these guys coming up on the interstate with drugs, and they're carrying guns, and so we never know. I mean, we need to know who is coming here so we can protect ourselves. And another
Yes.
thing I'm upset about is I heard Columbus Day was yesterday, and people want to now do away with Columbus Day. If we do that, let's do away with Memorial Day. All these other days that we practice. It's not going to happen.
Those holidays are part of the spirit of our country, part of the pride that we have in the events that we are commemorating. All right. Veterans Day coming up November 11th.
Yeah.
Do they want to do away with that too? No way, Jose.
That's right.
No way.
I mean, look at starting right off when the militia were fighting the Brits right up to today, who gave their life for this country, and we need to respect them.
Absolutely. They were part of the foundation of this nation. And now we have military, and I respect them to the hilt. I respect law enforcement and those who work in our communities, like those who are the firemen and all the rest, the medics. They're providing a service, a worthwhile, needed service. And we need to respect them.
I'm with you 100%.
And honor them.
Yeah.
And all of this taking away the founding important factors of our nation just drives me berserk.
I was hearing they even want to do away with Halloween. I mean, that's that.
God forbid the children should have some
I know,
fun.
but it's not as important as some of the other ones. But that's one of our traditions, like Easter. Okay.
Yeah,
Easter
well, that's
Bunny.
a religious
Yeah,
holiday.
I know it, but they want to get rid.
So is Christmas.
That's right. They want to get rid of all those little things there, and they figure if they play hard enough, we'll buckle down and let them do it. Well, I say, if you don't like it here, pack your bags and get going. And if you think it's better somewhere else, you go down south, and they're very religious down there, and they
Yes.
follow all those holidays. And here we got some people in Vermont who want to do away with the holidays and certain things because they don't believe in it. It's like a lot of the Jewish people that I know, they don't believe like us Christians, but they don't ask us to do that.
Right.
And I don't ask them to do away with their holidays.
Exactly.
It's their
called
right
respect.
to do what they want. It's our right to do it here. We don't need to change. Just accept their religion, and they respect my religion.
But there's no, all of these uprisings and what do you call them when they're out there with their
Protesters.
protesters, thank you, all over the place on all different kinds of issues. They're being supported by people who are against this nation and what this nation stands for.
These people are trying to get us to fight each other.
Yes,
And
yes. Oh, here we go. Welcome to the program. What's on your mind? Whoops. I don't know what happened there, but
They
somebody,
hit the wrong button?
they changed their mind.
Okay.
That's a right they have.
Yes, that's right, they do have.
Multiculturalism is what the other side of the spectrum is pushing for. Taking away our traditional culture and making it a multicultural
Right.
nation with all kinds of different languages and different ways of functioning. I would like to just take a moment, Don,
Go ahead.
and speak about briefly the difference between a pure democracy and a democratic republic. A pure democracy is when the people have the right to vote,
Yep,
but once the vote is counted,
you accept it.
whoever won can do whatever they want because there's no constitution that they have to abide by. In a democratic republic, yes, the people still have the right to vote, but whoever is elected is to comply with the supreme law of the land,
yep.
which protects the people and the country.
Our
Now-
founding fathers did all that work for us. I mean, what they did back then is still good enough today if you just follow it because it makes common sense.
Well, right. And socialism, the best way I can describe socialism, well, Bernie's a democratic socialist, okay? But that's when government takes over your life. It tells you what you can do, what you can't do. Government just controls your life.
Right.
And
Go to North Korea.
yeah.
There, you want to see that?
Yeah, exactly. So we don't want socialism in this country.
That's why we fought World War II, because we wanted to run our country the way we wanted. We didn't want Hitler and the Japanese over here telling us what to do.
Empowerment of the people.
And Hitler wanted to do certain things, and he did some bad things to people over in Europe.
Well, and what our founders did was, their intention at least was to limit the federal government
Yes.
to certain clearly identified roles, jobs.
Yeah.
And that is in the Constitution. I can't remember which article it is. Might be 6, I'm not sure. But
If you said 6, probably most people wouldn't know it anyways. 'Cause
yeah, well, it's one of the articles in the Constitution. It might be one of the earlier ones. And it clearly spells out what the federal government is responsible for. Protecting our nation, which it isn't doing because Congress won't put up the money for it, all right? The Democrats in the House of Representatives are refusing to do that. They're too busy playing around with
impeachment.
impeachment, yeah. Instead of taking care of the people and the land in this country. So, where was I going with that?
We just don't want government.
Oh,
We want them to be there, but not in our lives, telling us what to do.
the government of the people, by the people, for the people,
right.
not for the government. And if you check out the Constitution, look it up, one of the articles spells clearly what the role of the federal government is. And by the way, the federal government has no authority over health care or education. That's the Democrats pushing that. That's not what the founders planned for this country. The states and the local communities are responsible for education and health care.
That's why we had states, and the states would monitor themselves.
Right.
And the federal government would work with them. We'd do the military and all the big stuff, and you take care of the little stuff. So they pared that out. And so we don't need, like you said, the federal government telling us what insurance we need to carry, or health insurance and things like that. All right, so that's what our founding fathers did, is that they said, with the first 13 colonies, you run your own and we'll help you. We're there to help you. We're not going to tell you what to do.
They're not going to take it over.
Right, but we had the certain things that came out of for the feds overruled the state in the Constitution. Right. So, but you had your rights, like Vermont. Like we almost didn't come into their 14th state. They were going to break away and go to Canada at one time. There was talk. That's how we become. Instead of original 13, we're 14th star.
That's right.
Because we were going to go to Canada. It's a good thing we didn't do that.
14th star.
Yeah.
The beer brewery.
Right. Because France, took over, a lot of stuff over in Canada.
Yes.
Ethan Allen made sure that we were going to stay here in Vermont.
He did. Yeah. Okay. So let's see here. What else do we have? Deficit spending. There are other things that I wanted to talk about. In Vermont. This green stuff is driving me crazy. We are subsidizing the purchase of electric cars. We the taxpayers are being forced to subsidize the purchase by someone who has money. I mean, you can't purchase an electric car unless you have some means, unless you're going to go into big debt. But I think it's $5,000. Do you know?
I'm not sure, but I know it's expensive stuff, and this is where our legislators, in the state of Vermont, need to buckle down and start talking about this stuff and give them some pushback. But there again, the Democrats control the House and Senate down in Montpelier. So you need to get out and talk to them. Like I said, I talked to our congressional people. I didn't call Bernie because he was sick, But when you find something you don't like, send them a note and tell them. That's the only way they know what's going on. If you send it out there, I know that the Republicans are working on some things to help drive some people, get some information out to people so they'll know what's coming their way. A lot of people don't take advantage of the fact that they looking around for something until it's happened. They wait for it to happen, then get excited and want to stop it. Well, you can stop it before it gets there if you get involved and help legislate what we want and not what somebody in Washington or someplace else wants to do for us.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, when government takes control of your life, what do you have as an individual? You don't have rights. You don't have personal empowerment. Is one of the most important things in this country. Free enterprise.
Maybe I don't want to drive an electric car.
Exactly.
Yeah, so.
But those who are purchasing them, God bless them. If that's what they want, go ahead and buy one. But don't expect me to subsidize it.
It's like owning an airplane. If you want to own an airplane, buy one. I don't want to own an airplane, so I go commercial. Right? I mean, of course, a lot of these people, Bernie came back from Vegas in a private jet, and he's all excited about this carbon stuff, and he had a private jet rather than a commercial jet. So, a lot of these people don't do what they say, but they want us to do what they say.
That's right. What do you think the state of Vermont could do to help provide, not to provide, but to create an environment where there will be employees who will take the jobs, the multitude of jobs that are available in this state that no one is either qualified for or reliable enough to take the jobs?
Right.
Everywhere you go.
We're hiring,
you
it says. Yeah.
We're hiring,
Yeah.
yes. All kinds of businesses. Not just the grocery stores, and
Not just the restaurants. There's a company down in Bethel, Vermont. I think it's JW Plastics. They're actually advertising on TV for people to come down there and work. Now, you might have to relocate down in that southern part of the state, but go ahead. I mean, it's not, Vermont's a pretty state. I mean, down in the southern part of the state, it's just as beautiful as it is up here in the northern part.
Well, here's one of the things that I would like to see happen. And actually, I applaud the governor. I don't always do that, but I applaud the governor for appointing Mike Smith as the new head of the Agency of Human Services. I think he'll do a really good job. I would like to speak with him, and I probably will do that. I would like to see an audit of the Agency of Human Services and an audit of the Department of Education, because those are the two places where a lot of the money is going.
Yeah.
And I'm all for both of those. The Agency of Human Services is important to some people, and the Department of Education is definitely important. But I want to see fiscal accountability, and one of the things that I wanted to bring up tonight, Don, is something that's really annoying the heck out of me. And there were recently an article, actually, in a letter to the editor, in the Messenger, St. Albans Messenger, about the way that our children are being graded in our schools. Proficiency? Are you kidding me? How about a test with questions on it that you have to answer that will demonstrate that you know what you need to know? The fact that you can put a plant in the ground and get credit for that doesn't amount to anything with me.
You won't be that's not being a farmer.
No.
You have to learn how to be a farmer.
Farming is wonderful,
Right.
but there's a lot to farming. It's
That's
not
right, just putting a seed in the ground.
Exactly. But our children need to be stimulated mentally. They need to be expected to do their very best, to work hard, and there need to be rewards for excellence. And this proficiency grading, it's not even grading, I guess it would be the teacher's opinion, subjective opinion, as to how well you were doing in class. But it needs to be based on something concrete, not, you're nice to other children. No, what did you learn today?
Right. We were doing a dishonor to them if we're not making them so when they get out in the real world, they know what's going on.
They're prepared.
Right, they're just pushing them through. And that happens in the bigger cities, in New York and places like that. It should not happen here in Vermont, because the student-teacher ratio was very small. So the teacher has a chance to take these children under her arm and make sure that he or she make sure that they're well qualified.
We all understand that there are children who have difficulty with learning. That's a given. But for those who are more capable of learning and advancing, we need to provide incentive for them to excel, and it needs to be concrete so that they and their family and the college that they want to attend have clearly defined information about their capabilities and their knowledge.
Look at what happened out in California. All these movie stars and TV stars were paying people to take the test so their kids could go to college. Now, that is crazy. I mean, why would I want to pay somebody to send my child to college, and then when she gets to college, she's going to flunk out because she's not capable of doing it. I can't believe it that happened, because some of those people are going to jail. When I was in high school, our senior year, if you had carried a certain level of a grade for the final exam, you didn't have to take the final exam, because even if you got an F, you'd pass. So it was something for you to do. So you worked hard to get grades and know what's going on. And then, so at the end of the year, I didn't have to take final exams if I had an average of such and such. So that they rewarded you for being a little bit smarter.
Yeah, we didn't have that, but it was an incentive when you saw the grade you got.
Yeah.
And you knew you were going to know, and the teacher was going to know, that you did well. That motivates you to keep doing well and to get smarter and smarter.
Yeah, because I didn't want to take those final exams. I mean, I had to take midterm, and I was lucky enough to get through a few of them where I didn't have to take the final exam, and the rest of the people did. As I said, you do well, you reward.
We didn't have that.
Yeah, well, it's just like anything else. You work hard, you get paid. Right?
Yeah.
And so, I mean, like I could have sat back and just said, I'm not interested in that. But they rewarded you by doing it. Of course, the teacher didn't have to prepare or correct your exam. Even, like I said, even if you flunked it, you had enough on the table to pass anyways, to graduate. So that's how it worked.
Well, I am so delighted to see the letter, the lengthy letter in the newspaper from our former mayor, Liz Gamache. She has, I believe, a son who will be graduating and from high school, and proficiency. Other parents are standing up and speaking out and going to the school board meetings, and I applaud that. I think that's where standing up and speaking out, and even though it's on behalf of your own child at the moment, if change can be made because parents stood up and said, enough of this nonsense, we want grades for our children based on their productivity and their knowledge. And we need to get back to that. I think that the methods that are being used today, this proficiency business, isn't good for anybody. And so I applaud all those parents and keep up the good fight. I'm just really proud of you. And if anyone wants to speak to that, the phone number is on the screen. You're more than welcome to call in and chime in. We owe it to our children and to the future.
That's right.
Of them, as well as the state and the country, to have an opportunity for them to excel and to see the proof of it in black and white. These colleges, they're concerned about their students, seniors, graduating, and then maybe they want to attend an out-of-state college, and the college says proficient. What's the heck does that mean?
That's right. What's that?
So, I was one who always wanted to do my best and get the best grades I could. And you know what, Don? One of the things that fits into that is having parents who have high expectations of you and want you to do your level best. Work hard. I came home, I had to walk from the train station when I was in high school, a couple of miles, and some of it was uphill. We didn't have backpacks in those days, so I was walking with a pile of books and notebooks all the way home, and then I got a snack and I sat down at the dining room table and I did my homework. Welcome to the program.
You got me off the couch.
Well, that's a good thing. What do you have to say?
Well, number one, I'm like a 19-year-old on my little phone, and I Googled what you asked a question a long time ago about how many people came through Ellis Island. Mm-hmm. Well, I've got your answer.
Good, thank you.
from 1880 to 1930, 27 million entered the USA, and 12 million of that came through Ellis Island.
Wow. Wait a minute. Now I'm writing this down. 1880 to 1930?
Yeah, 27 million entered the USA.
Wow.
Maybe from Canada, Ellis Island, wherever they came.
Wow.
12 million of that came through Ellis Island.
Yeah.
12 million. I'm writing this down.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I know.
My grandparents came through Ellis Island, both of them. My grandmother came from Poland to escape communism.
Yep.
She came at the age of 13.
Wow.
Never saw her family. And my grandfather came from Lithuania at the age of 18.
Huh.
Well, they were young.
They came legally. You heard that word, legally?
Yeah. Well, they respected our country and they wanted opportunity in a new land where they could have freedom, and
Right.
they got it.
Right. And I think, we've got to enforce our laws, whether people like Trump or they don't like him, and they like his personality or they don't like it. We've got to secure our borders.
Absolutely.
We have to.
Yep.
And the bottom line is, if we don't, we're in big trouble. And the news media does not report all the drug cartels, all the sex trafficking, all the things that they're doing to the women. Many of them come through masquerading as fathers of families, and they're not.
Yep.
And they don't have any documentation. I mean, look at, I say my grandparents, but other people that risked their lives to come here and came through Ellis Island.
Yes, absolutely.
It's disgusting is what it is.
Have you been to Ellis Island?
Yes, I have.
Were you?
I've been there. I've seen it all and saw all kinds of stuff. It's a fabulous place to visit for anybody. I went down for an opening ceremony many years ago.
Really?
Yeah, very powerful. Very, very powerful.
It's an education in itself.
Yep. The other thing I wanted to share real quickly before
Sure.
I go back to the couch, there was a young gentleman from BFA talking about what you did on proficiency.
Yes.
He was very upset, very disgusted, and he said, when I'm applying for colleges, how am I going to tell them I'm proficient in what?
Right.
Yeah.
And are they going to accept me if I haven't been tested with my grades of A, B, C, or D?
Yeah.
I wish I caught his name, but he's from BFA, and they were interviewing him either on this Channel 3 News or the Channel 5 News. And he wasn't afraid to speak out and say he's totally against it.
I'm glad to hear that. I am so inspired, Diane, by people who are not afraid and who are willing to stand up and speak out and step up to those who are running the show.
Well, the thing is, if you don't step up to something, they're going to walk all over. You're going to be a doormat.
Nothing changes.
And I live in America the way you do, and my rights are just as important as your rights.
That's
and
right.
And the bottom line is, if we don't have a good educational system, we're going to have the dumbing of America. We're going to be a third world country, and globalism is going to take over, and our Constitution is going to fail, period.
And then, amen, and then people are going to say, well, what happened?
Right, what happened, right.
Well, guess what? You were asleep at the switch, folks.
No, they were sitting on the couch.
Yeah.
Yeah, but at least you had the wisdom to get up and speak out.
Yeah.
You convinced me, so this is my debut that's a long time ago.
Well,
Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you.
Okay,
And
I'm going to go back and listen to you. Good show, both of you.
thanks a lot for calling in. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye now.
Now, well, I learned something tonight about Ellis. I knew
Yes.
Ellis Island, but I didn't know the numbers, and that's great.
Yeah, I didn't know them either.
Yeah.
But Diane's a fact person.
Yeah,
you know,
well, that's good. Well,
yeah.
I mean, it's beautiful when they show it on there with the Liberty. Of course, France gave that to us.
Yes,
Yeah.
but you know what? One thing about the Statue of Liberty, it was France who said, give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses. It wasn't the United States that said, we're going to take them.
Yeah.
You know, we will accept people into this country who love who and what we are and who are willing to work within our system, and I mean work and contribute.
Well, they did, and we built a great country.
Yep.
Like you said, all those people came from those foreign countries and helped us become strong.
Yes.
Because
yes.
together, nobody can beat us.
Well, we have a lot of work to do
I know.
to get back to strengthening our country. Our president's trying to do that. We have more people working. We have more women working, more blacks working, more Hispanics working.
They're just upset because when he says he's going to do something, he does it. And he doesn't back down like he did with China. He hangs tough. He doesn't roll over. It's either his way, and I'm going to wait until you agree to go. He compromises.
He's a businessman.
He compromises, okay? All right, but I want the betterment for the United States.
He loves this country.
Yeah.
And he loves the military, and he loves our people, and he's used to making deals and working hard, and he has a family here. Of course he wants our country to be strong and safe.
Yeah.
So we have work to do as American citizens. We need our parents involved in the schools. The average cost per pupil, as I've said before, in this state is very high.
It's up around 13,000, is it?
The average cost is $22,000.
22,000?
Now,
Wow.
that's not what we're spending for every pupil.
Okay.
That's what the average is, because we have so many programs for every little thing. Yeah. Some of those, you know what? The schools have to stop being parents, and parents need to do their job.
That's right. That's right.
You know, you become a parent, you have responsibilities to raise your child and to be, a worthy citizen yourself. We're down to a little over 2 minutes, so,
Okay.
But our children deserve measurable results. And,
If the teachers aren't doing their job, they should be fired.
well, I can't speak in relation to every teacher because I don't know.
I think most of them are good.
I do
but
too.
There's always a bad apple somewhere, but overall, most of them are good.
Well, I feel that they're caught in a trap system.
Yeah.
Hi there, caller. We're down to about 2 minutes. What's on your mind?
I just wanted to make it quick, Linda.
Sure.
You're talking about the electric cars.
Yes.
To make the electric battery for those cars makes a ton of pollution. In fact, it makes so much, you have to drive the car for 5 to 6 years to make up for the pollution from the battery.
No kidding.
And the battery's life is about 8 years.
Huh.
Wow. So you have to keep...
So we're going backwards rather than forward.
Right.
Wow. That's interesting.
So, nobody stops to think what pollution is involved in making the battery.
Right.
Thank you for that, Louise. That's an interesting tidbit.
These people, see, they're not doing their homework. Like I said, she just said, I didn't know that. We're going backwards. We're not going forward.
Right.
I mean, what's wrong with this? We got
And then Vermont Gas had their summer letter out, and they were talking.
Where are you?
In Vermont, we have so many trees, it's all absorbed.
That's right. I'm with you on that. I know that.
But we don't need to do all this carbon taxing.
That's right.
You got it. We got it. That's why they call us the Green Mountains.
Vermont has one of the lowest carbon footprints in the country.
That's right.
Right. But
So
when Vermont Gas put it in their letter, I was really impressed.
Yeah, that's great.
Good. Good.
Okay, have a good one.
Well,
Yeah, same
thanks
to
for
you.
watching, Louise.
Yeah, bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye.
Wow. We learned 2 things tonight. That's
Yeah,
great. I didn't
yeah.
know that. But see, those people with all that green stuff, they don't know what they're talking about. Now, she's done her research, and we're like you said, we're going backwards, not forward.
Well, listen, I want to thank you so much for coming on.
Well, thanks for having me.
Sharing this program with me. And folks, I want to thank you so much for tuning in and calling and sharing your thoughts. That's part of what makes this program fun and worthy. And I will be back with you soon. In the meantime, have a great time. And I'll see you soon. Good night.
Good night.